Think about your morning routine in 2025. You brushed your teeth with a synthetic polymer brush, washed your face with pH-balanced foam, and threw your clothes into a machine that uses ultrasonic sensors to detect dirt. Now, imagine all of that, every bit of it is gone. It's the year 1320. If you want to stay clean, you don't have a pharmacy. You have a forest. If you want to stay healthy, you don't have a doctor. You have a wise woman down the road who knows which routes stop a heart from racing. Most people dismiss the medieval period as a dark age of filth and ignorance. But that's a lie. Our ancestors were some of the most resourceful life hackers in human history. They solved complex chemical problems using nothing but the raw materials of nature. Today, we're looking at the top 10 medieval life hacks that actually worked, starting with a cleaning secret that is as disgusting as it is pure scientific genius. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss another episode. A fuller standing in a large wooden vat, stomping rhythmically on heavy woolen cloth. The liquid is a murky yellow. Let's talk about the P factor. If you wanted to get a grease stain out of your tunic in the Middle Ages, you didn't reach for Dawn dish soap. You reached for a jar of chamber lye. In the 21st century, we use industrial bleach. In the 14th century, stale human urine was a hot commodity. Why? Because when urine sits for a few days, the urea breaks down into high concentrations of ammonia. Ammonia is a powerful alkaline. It's a natural degreaser that can break down organic fats and whiten linens better than almost anything else available at the time. Professional cleaners, known as fullers, would set up large jars in public spaces for people to donate their waste. They would then take this fermented liquid gold, dump it into vats with raw wool or dirty clothes, and stomp on them barefoot for hours. This process didn't just clean the clothes. It felted the wool, making it tighter and more water-resistant. So, the next time you see a pristine white gown in a period drama, remember, it was likely scrubbed in a vat of ancient urine. It's pure chemistry disguised as a nightmare. Macro shots of lush, green sphagnum moss growing on a damp log. Cut to an illustration of a medieval soldier wrapping a wound. If urine was the detergent, sphagnum moss was the duct tape of the Middle Ages. If you were hiking through the English countryside or fighting in a border skirmish, moss was your best friend. Medieval people discovered 3 incredible properties of this plant. It's antiseptic. Sphagnum moss is naturally acidic. This acidity creates an environment where bacteria simply cannot grow. It's absorbent. It can hold up to 20 times its weight in liquid, far more than cotton. It's free. It grows everywhere. Because of this, moss became the ultimate hack for personal hygiene. It was used as a lining for primitive diapers, as the world's first disposable feminine hygiene product, and most importantly, as a field dressing. Soldiers would pack dried moss into deep wounds to soak up blood and prevent infection. In fact, this medieval hack was so effective that it was still being used on a mass scale as recently as World War I, when cotton supplies ran low. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss another episode. A hand pouring muddy water through a funnel filled with layers of sand and black charcoal chunks. The water comes out clear at the bottom. People in the Middle Ages knew that drinking bad water led to a quick death, even if they didn't know what a microbe was. Their hack for this was the charcoal filter. They noticed that water passing through the remains of a campfire often tasted better and didn't make them as sick. They began creating gravity filters using layers of sand, gravel, and crushed charcoal. The charcoal, which is essentially carbon, has a massive surface area that traps impurities and neutralizes toxins. This is the exact same principle used in modern water filtration systems today. While the nobility drank ale and wine to avoid waterborne illness, The commoners used the charcoal hack to keep their families hydrated and alive. A shadowy figure placing a heavy metal lid over a glowing fire hearth. The room goes dark. Keeping clean and hydrated was the baseline for survival. But what happened when the sun went down? In an era of wooden houses and thatched roofs, your greatest source of warmth was also your greatest threat. One stray spark could and often did level an entire city. The medieval solution to this wasn't a fire extinguisher. It was a clever legal and physical hack that gave us a word we still use every single day. But to understand that, we have to look at the safety and preservation hacks of the 1300s. Comments. If you were transported back to 1320, which of these would you miss more? Your washing machine or your Brita filter? If you're enjoying this deep dive into the genius of our ancestors, hit that like button. It helps us keep the history lights on. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss another episode. Learn the chemistry. How ammonia became history's favorite cleaner, nature's medicine. The incredible history of sphagnum moss in warfare. And survival hacks and is designed to bridge the gap between hygiene and medicine. The art of preservation and protection. A cinematic shot of a blizzard howling outside. A small stone cottage. Inside, a family sits by a fire, eating a meal that looks surprisingly fresh, vibrant fruits and succulent meat. The winter death trap in the 21st century. The winter is just a season where we turn up the thermostat and order grocery delivery. But in the Middle Ages, winter was a predator. If you didn't have a way to stop time to literally freeze your foods. DK, without a freezer, your family wouldn't see the spring. Medieval people didn't have electricity, but they were master physicists. They understood air, moisture, and temperature in ways we've forgotten. These next 4 hacks aren't just about making do. They are about outsmarting nature itself. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss another episode. A hand lowers a cooked duck leg into a heavy ceramic crock. Thick, melted white lard is poured over it until the meat is invisible. A wooden lid is slammed shut. How do you keep meat edible for 6 months in a world of flies and heat? You use the fat seal. This hack, known as confit, is still a luxury cooking technique in France today, but in 1300, it was a survival necessity. The hack was simple. Cook the meat slowly in its own fat to kill bacteria. Then pack it into a stone jar and submerge it completely in melted lard. As the lard cooled, it hardened into a thick, waxy, airtight barrier. No oxygen meant no aerobic bacteria. No bacteria meant no rot. A potted bird or pig could sit in a cool cellar for an entire winter, and when you scraped away the fat in February, the meat inside was as tender as the day it was cooked. Golden honey dripping slowly over a pile of fresh walnuts and berries inside a glass jar. If fat was the hack for meat, honey was the hack for everything else. Medieval people noticed that honey never spoils. Modern archaeologists have actually found edible honey in ancient tombs. They used this to their advantage by creating honey vaults, by submerging expensive nuts, fruits, and even medicinal herbs in jars of honey. They created a high sugar, low moisture environment that literally dehydrated any bacteria that tried to enter. It was the medieval equivalent of a vacuum-sealed bag. Plus, when you finally ate the contents, you had a high-calorie energy boost to help you survive the cold. A woman scattering handfuls of dried lavender and mint across a dirt and reed floor. A dog walks over them, releasing a visible puff of fragrance. Let's be honest, medieval houses smelled intense. You had livestock nearby, open fires, and the chamber lie from part 1. To solve this, they hacked their flooring instead of carpets. They used strewing herbs. They would layer the floor with dried meadowsweet, lavender, and santalina. These weren't just for decoration. When you walked across the room, your footsteps crushed the dried leaves, releasing a burst of essential oils. It was a wok-activated organic air freshener. But there was a hidden pro tip here. Many of these herbs, like tansy and mint, are natural insecticides that kept fleas and lice from nesting in the floor. Reads.don't_t. Forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss another. Episode fire was the only thing keeping you alive. But in a house made of wood and straw, it was also your biggest threat. You couldn't stay awake 24/7 to watch the hearth. The hack was a device called the couvre-feu, literally cover fire. It was a heavy, vented ceramic lid. At bedtime, you'd place it over the embers. The vents allowed just enough oxygen to keep the coals glowing until morning, but the heavy shell prevented sparks from jumping onto the straw floor while you slept. This practice became so vital that bells were rung in towns to remind people to cover their fires. This is where we get the modern word, curfew. It wasn't originally about a time to be home. It was a life hack to keep your town from burning down. A close-up of a person's eyes widening in pain, clutching their jaw. The camera pans to a piece of moldy bread and a strip of willow bark on a table. We've conquered hunger and fire. But what happened when your body betrayed you? In an era before 2025's advanced medicine, a simple toothache or a scratched finger could be a death sentence. Or was it? Wait until you see how medieval wise women were using a specific type of bread mold and tree bark to perform medical miracles that wouldn't be discovered by modern science for another 500 years. The curfew hack literally saved entire civilizations from burning. If you didn't know that's where the word came from, drop a mind-blown emoji in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss another episode to Science of Fat. How Comfy Preservation Works. Safety History. The evolution of the fire curfew. This final segment focuses on medical breakthroughs and high-level problem solving, ending with a strong call to action. Wise woman or apothecary in a dimly lit room, surrounded by jars of dried herbs, hanging roots, and a loaf of bread covered in blue-green mold. She isn't chanting spells. She's precisely measuring ingredients. The myth of primitive medicine. We've all seen the movies. A medieval doctor walks in with a bird mask and a jar of leeches, and the patient dies 5 minutes later. While the Middle Ages certainly had its share of questionable medical theories, the common people, the ones who lived in the woods and worked the fields, had developed a forest pharmacy that was shockingly effective. They didn't have microscopes to see bacteria, but they had eyes to see what worked. These final 3 hacks prove that our ancestors weren't just guessing. They were hacking biology and physics in ways that modern medicine is only just starting to appreciate. A man with a throbbing headache chewing on a strip of gray tree bark. An infographic overlay shows the chemical structure of salicin morphing into a modern aspirin bottle. If you had a fever or a debilitating migraine in the year 1400, your local healer wouldn't give you a pill. She'd give you a strip of willow bark to chew on. This wasn't folklore. It was chemistry. Willow bark contains a compound called salicin. When you ingest it, your body naturally converts it into salicylic acid. If that sounds familiar, it's because it is the exact active ingredient in aspirin. Medieval people had hacked the human pain receptor centuries before the first pharmaceutical company was even a thought. They took a raw, bitter plant and turned it into a systemic painkiller that allowed them to keep working through injuries that should have sidelined them for weeks. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss another episode. Macro shot of fuzzy, blue-green mold on a crust of rye bread. A hand gently presses a piece of the moldy crust against a small, red wound on a child's arm. This is perhaps the most mind-blowing hack of all. Hundreds of years before Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin in 1928, medieval peasants were already using it. They knew that if a wound started to weep or turn red, the best cure was a poultice made of moldy bread. They didn't know about penicillium fungi or how it inhibits cell wall synthesis in bacteria. They just knew that the blue fuzzy bread stopped the red death in a wound. By applying the mold directly to an infection, they were performing localized antibiotic therapy. It was a crude, messy, but life-saving hack that kept simple scratches from turning into fatal sepsis. Egg white architecture, the 1,000-year mortar. A towering cathedral like Notre Dame or Durham Cathedral. A hand cracks an egg into a bucket of white lime mortar, mixing it vigorously. Finally, let's talk about how they hacked physics to build cathedrals that have stood for 800 years. If you want to build a stone tower 200 feet tall, your mortar needs to be more than just mud and sand. Medieval masons used a high protein hack. They mixed egg whites and ox blood into their lime mortar. The proteins, specifically the albumin in the eggs, acted as a natural plasticizer and bonding agent. This created a mortar that was incredibly durable, slightly flexible to withstand wind, and almost entirely waterproof. While modern, quick-dry cement often cracks and fails within 50 to 100 years, the egg white hack has kept medieval skylines standing for a millennium. Fast-paced montage of all 10 hacks the urine laundry. The lard meat, the willow bark, the moss bandages, the curfew fire cover. The people of the Middle Ages weren't backwards. They were engineers of the everyday. They turned waste into bleach, mold into medicine, and eggs into skyscrapers. They didn't have technology, they had observation. They watched how nature worked and bent it to their will to survive in a world that was constantly trying to kill them. The next time you use a Brita filter, take an aspirin or set a curfew on your phone. Remember, you're using a medieval life hack. Which of these 10 hacks shocked you the most? Are you team pea laundry or team moldy bread? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. If you want to dive deeper into the science of history, check out our full History Deep Dive playlist. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss another episode of How the Past Built Our Future. Thanks for watching, and stay resourceful.